China builds giant ports in Peru to connect Asia and South America. In the Peruvian fishing port city of Chancay, a giant port built by China is rising to accelerate trade between South America and China. This $3.5 billion deepwater port is expected to start operating by the end of this year, providing China with a direct gateway to access the rich resources of the region. In the past decade, China has replaced the United States as South America's largest trading partner, including soybeans, corn, and copper provided by the latter. The newly built port is mostly controlled by China's state-owned COSCO Shipping. At that time, it will be able to accommodate the largest cargo ships, directly connect to Asia, and shorten the transportation time for some exporters by 2 weeks. Both Beijing and Lima hope that Chancay Port can drive regional economies, including copper mines in Peru and soybean exports in western Brazil. At present, the latter is transported to China via the Panama Canal or by bypassing the Atlantic Ocean. Peruvian Trade Minister Salazar told Reuters, the large port of Chancay aims to turn Peru into a strategic commercial port hub between South America and Asia. This port project is also part of China's the Belt and Road Initiative. The Chancay Port project, located approximately 80 kilometers north of Lima, began construction in 2018. Now, workers are building breakwaters. The signs on the construction site are written in Chinese. The first phase of Chancay Port project is expected to be completed in November 2024. In addition to COSCO Shipping controlling 60% of the port's shares, the remaining shares are held by the local mining company Vulcan, while the international company Glencore holds some of the latter shares. The Peruvian government is planning to establish an exclusive economic zone near the port, while COSCO Shipping hopes to build an industrial park near the port of Chancay to process raw materials such as grains and meat from Brazil. Brazilian ambassador to Peru, Suarez, stated that officials from both countries have plans to meet early this year to seek solutions to logistics, hygiene, and procedural issues related to the transit of Brazilian freight trucks to the port. Suarez also visited Chancay in September last year. He also stated that the existing interoceanic highway needs investment to improve transportation routes. This road crosses the Andes Mountains from southern Peru to Brazil. He said that discussions about building railway lines are currently only in the research stage. During the tenure of former U.S. President Trump, China replaced the country as the largest trading partner in Central and South America. During Biden's tenure, the gap between China and the United States widened. U.S. officials now say that the United States can provide investment in high-tech industries to the region. Beijing stated that trade and investment with Latin America is a win-win situation. About 150 countries have signed the Belt and Road Agreement, including 22 Latin American countries. 10 years ago, Peru, the world's second-largest copper producer, had slightly higher trade volume with the United States than China. Nowadays, the bilateral trade volume between China and Peru is $10 billion higher than that of the United States. China's investment in infrastructure has further consolidated its position as a key trading partner in South America. On the one hand, the rapid development of the Chinese economy has generated demand for copper and lithium mines in the Andes, as well as corn and soybeans in Argentina and Brazil. On the other hand, Beijing's influence in South America has also increased with the expansion of trade. Last year, Beijing upgraded its relationship with Uruguay and Colombia to a strategic partnership, which is an ally of the United States. Argentine President Milei, who once held a critical attitude towards China, has softened his stance since taking office last month, reflecting Beijing's importance to the country's heavily damaged economy. China is the largest buyer of Argentine soybeans and beef. In the past decade, the trade volume between Peru and China has doubled, reaching $33 billion in 2022. The increase in copper mine exports is the main driving force. During the same period, China invested approximately $23 billion in Peru's mines, power grid, transportation, and hydroelectric power generation. In the first 11 months of last year, Peru's exports to China increased by 9.3%, while exports to the United States increased by 5.3% during the same period. Peru has a trade surplus of $9.4 billion with China and a trade deficit of $1.3 billion with the United States. China is taking advantage of our absence, which is a big issue, said Eric Farnsworth, a Latin American expert who has served as an advisor to the U.S. State Department and White House. He said that Chancay has strengthened China's position in Peru, becoming a leverage point for China to leverage its influence in the region. However, China is not always smooth sailing in the region. The Belt and Road project is blocked in Europe and Asia, and also faces delays in Latin American countries Argentina and Venezuela. Diplomats and trade experts have also warned that if Chancay Port wants to succeed, it must strengthen regional infrastructure construction, including roads and railways, to ensure that goods can be transported to the port, including grains from Brazil. At present, the Trans-Ocean Highway connects the Pacific coast, from southern Peru to the state of Acre in Brazil. This road corridor, with a total length of about 2,600 kilometers, is rarely used. Former Chilean ambassador to China Mata said, "The current problem is the lack of regional connectivity, which has a significant impact on the success of the project." However, some diplomats have also stated that the region urgently needs funds for infrastructure and foreign exchange, making it difficult for governments around the world to refuse Chinese investment even under warnings from the United States. At the same time, global interest in South American raw materials such as lithium mines, copper mines, and grains has increased. Diplomats have stated that Latin America has become a new battlefield between the United States, Europe, and China around these mineral resources.